Basically, racing was trying to become more sustainable or whatever, or easier for a manufacturer to get into without having to do homologation rules and stuff.
Hmm.
So instead of them having to make, say, 5,000 of a particular car, which is what we all loved, and that's where like the WRX and everything came from, they could take an existing car and kind of like modify it into the rule set. So the car itself, instead of it being kind of close to what they wanted to be, they could take a car that wasn't that, throw $500,000 at it, and then make it what they wanted. But they only had to do that like 4 times,
Yeah.
instead of 5,000. So it ended
Mm.
up being cheaper for the manufacturers. Like Toyota could go race a Corolla in the WRC, even though they didn't make the GR Corolla yet. They could
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
like that. And that's where you saw like Hyundai and Volkswagen in the WRC. But you even saw that like GT3 racing, and they it was kind of based on a production vehicle, but not really. And then you have like NASCAR just went way off the deep end. They went into something that doesn't even make sense. And then the the organizations that did kind of force you to stay with a production based vehicle, they like the money went in really different directions because all the manufacturer money pulled out of it and people were essentially modifying more OEM stuff. They got less airtime because they were like Trans Am basically died, and Trans Am was still trying to force you to be in something that was in the realm of what a stock vehicle was trying to be. Or like even GT4, which is a class under GT3, where the cars are fairly close to stock, but they'd get like no airtime. Nobody was watching IMSA at that point. A lot of that stuff, the Pirelli World Challenge, was you weren't getting, you'd have like localized Honda stuff, but it wasn't like they were putting full factory hardcore efforts into things like that. And they weren't
Yeah.
getting the airtime on TV. And like honestly, like TV just in general was kind of dying. That was the old medium for racing. And like YouTube and all of that was kind of taken over. But these large racing company, the corporations, NASCAR and all that, were still trying to figure out how to even work with that. And that really killed production based style racing,
Yeah.
especially in the 2010s. It beat the shit out of it. What did take off and got really exciting, even though it wasn't really directly applicable, was like rallycross. Like Nitro Rallycross was exploding, and like we got like the rally stuff we wanted, and look how good Gymkhana did. Here's a bunch of cars doing Gymkhana kind of stuff, all crashing into each other. These
Yeah.
short, and like for the social media brain of that time period, it was amazing. And if I truly think if that was managed better, that would have did great.
Yeah.
That was a management problem more than anything. But, even Time Attack went through a really weird phase. Like it kind of exploded in the late aughts. And then the early 2010s, it all kind of fell apart. And it was hard it was something that would do okay on social media and have kind of like a slow burn, just like Stage Rally kind of does. But it was hard to watch. You weren't going to get that
Yeah.
immediate feedback. And it was, the world was trying to figure out how to cope with that.
Yeah. I mean, my experience is, I used to work on an NHRA team, and we
Okay.
were building these like Hemi engines and 1,500 horsepower Dodge Dart that we were putting together, and it was like the shell is a Dodge Dart, but it's just a tube chassis. Everybody runs the same tube chassis. You're running essentially your own different kind of airflow. We had to run a Hemi, so we had 3 different of the same engine. And
Sure.
we were just building them, we would have 3 on hand for whatever. But, it was like you go racing, it's like it's a bunch of tubes, a bunch of tube
Yeah.
chassis with who's got what engine, and you're just like
So,
racing, and it's like,
That's one of the things I wanted to make sure I did with Boogie is keep it relatable. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was something that bugged me out of the 2010 era of stuff, is things weren't relatable. And even Time Attack cars at the top end, some amazing stuff happened during that time period, but they stopped being very relatable. NHRA, like you were just saying, like if it's just a bunch of tubes, NASCAR stuff like that, it's not relatable. That isn't, I truly don't believe you can draw a line to selling more cars from what was happening. And so
Yeah.
manufacturers started to see that, and they started pulling back too. So racing in general hurt, and I got to be real, enthusiasts in general got hurt.
Yeah. Well, because they weren't making anything that was translating, you know? Like our team, we had a Dodge Dart that looked like the newer Dart, in a
Yeah,
drag car, but it's like it's not. And it's like it
no,
in no way translates in any way to anything in a Dodge Dart. They never
no,
had a V8. You know what I mean? Like it's so unrelatable and like has nothing to do with it that it's like, what's the point? No parts that ever make it on that car are ever going to see production anywhere for any reason. It's
yes,
like so, one of the big questions I had for you
sure.
is that for IAG, right? Would it be good if IAG had that sort of symbiosis connection with Subaru, or would it hurt the aftermarket because people wouldn't need as many upgrades, or like essentially those parts would come as part of the car? Like, would it hurt IAG in that way, or is it better for you guys to have first access to new cars to make better products?
Well, I'm not going to say that we don't have some relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. The reality of it is, we purchase an absolute metric ton of stuff from Subaru. Like all of our short blocks, all of our heads, all of our, it all starts new. So
Mhm.
we order just case halves by the truckload. We're
It's awesome.
16,500 engines in right now. So
I
like
got to
that's
see your
not a small
factory, by
amount.
the way, your warehouse when I had to bring an engine back years ago
Yeah.
to you guys, and it just worked out because my family actually lives in Maryland.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was like, well, what are the odds of going back for Christmas? I got to drop off an engine. Hello. And
Yeah.
so shout out to you guys, not to cut you off, but they gave me a generous facility tour, and yeah, it was
Wild,
beyond
right?
impressive. Yeah, it was impressive to see, to say the least, and get to see the attention to detail that you
Mhm.
guys really encompass, and how, I got to step in there. They weren't doing live testing, of course, but into your, engine testing room, and kind of experience and kind of see the space that you
Yep.
guys use to really, really drive things home. And I think very few people, not to brag by any way, by any means, but I got to experience that and see and step inside that room and see, wow, this is what is really going into the R&D, what people don't
Well,
realize that
not
happens
to go
at places like you
too
guys.
far on a tangent here, but like I was one of there was a time period where I was actually very anti IAG. Okay. I used to use the term they're Burger Kinging motors over there. Okay. A lot of that was because I didn't understand the concepts of mass production. When you hear mass production,
Mhm.
you immediately think, well, quality is going to go down. Well, that's not actually really what happens. When we're
You
mass
have to
producing
keep
something,
quality.
it means that we have so like let's look at case halves, okay? We reject an insane amount of case halves from Subaru. We don't order one or
Mhm.
three case halves at a time. We're ordering like 50 plus.
Pallets.
Yeah, we're huge
Pallets.
pallets. And when we see one that's a little out of
I
whack,
saw one of those
we
pallets,
don't even screw
actually.
with it, okay? It's going back to Subaru. Like, it made their specs, but it didn't make ours, okay?
Mhm.
So
And that
we're gonna
blew my
start
mind.
with a good engine, and then instead of us having, like, bearings are a good example, okay? We don't order, like, packaged normal bearings and just have bearings packaged. What we order them in, like, flats. So it's these palletfuls of bearings that are stacked, and they're all within a couple of sizes. Okay, so it's a just massive quantity. So instead of us taking like two sets of bearings to match exactly what we need, A, we just machine the damn thing to be right. But B, we have every bearing that we would need to match it exactly. Okay. You would be surprised at how many cranks we reject and send straight
Yeah.
back to
Mhm.
Subaru, straight out of the package, like, nope, it's out.
Yep.
Pistons. We don't order like 5 boxes of pistons. We order those in flats, and then we do like, have you ever heard the term binning, which is like how like CPU manufacturers for like computers they'll take their like nicest silicon and put them together. Like we do that in like a matching format for
Mhm.
the pistons. So we go through and like we take it another, couple of decimal points down from even the piston manufacturer. Like
Yeah.
we can
I got to
match
see these
due to the
rooms and these
quantity
facilities
because we mass
firsthand.
produce. We make a more accurate engine than anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely attest getting all of the cams and the pistons and like one little thing off and you just turn it away because I mean, we've just was doing a lot of Ford aftermarket stuff, and it
Yeah.
was just like, when you're building a 1,300 horsepower engine, like the last thing you want is one thing to go wrong internally, and you're just like, nope, you just can't risk it. There's just
No.
there's like
Yeah.
Or
such
it's
a
not even worth the
small,
time. It's not worth the
Yeah.
time it would take us to try to fix it, which is why we don't screw with
Yeah.
used K-Sabs anymore.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
within reason though. Obviously, you guys have different parts groups, like you were saying about pistons and
Mhm.
what have you. You're like, wait, we have a tolerance range. Let's call it this. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
Yeah.
this, but and okay, if they're inside this range, they're good enough because we have engines on this spectrum and we can fit.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I saw
Exactly.
firsthand was okay. This engine block has this tolerance. We're not going to put these pistons in them.
Mhm.
We're gonna put these pistons in.
We're gonna put the
You know what I
ones
mean?
that
It's
are
the
the
same
closest to this. Instead
Yeah.
of us having to
exactly. It's the
machine to it,
same
we
kind of
can get a
alignment.
piston that's closer so we don't have to machine as much.
Yes. So that's
Now,
what I
we
really
can
saw
balance
firsthand
stuff
was you
that
guys
way
have
too.
that facility. Yeah.
We have the
Yeah.
ability to
And
do that because of the insane quantity we actually are ordering at a time. It's nuts. So,
again,
like,
the
again,
space, I'm
mass
sorry to
production is
anyone.
not a bad thing. What's really
Yeah.
crazy is we've had entire, like, faulty production runs come through before. Like, we've seen, like, a tooling problem within the amount of, like, let's say pistons, there was some sort of tooling issue, and we got
Mhm.
the entire, here's where it started and here's where it ended, all inside of our production, our stack of pistons that we have purchased.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like we've actually helped the manufacturer of some of these, various aftermarket companies we work with, but
Yeah.
going back to this, the original topic is we order stuff in giant silly quantities that even to this day blows my mind, and I work there. It allows us to go back to Subaru because Subaru money talks, and we do get a little bit of input on things, or we know the right people, so we're gonna get an STI right away. Okay,
Yeah.
it probably before anybody's gonna be able to purchase one, we will already have had one.
Yeah. The thing that I appreciate about your team and the way that some of these aftermarket companies are is like, um, when I was doing the Ford aftermarket stuff, we had a guy who came in with an F-150. He got this aftermarket company that did lowering, suspension kits, super
Sure.
expensive, whatever. We put it on his F-150, and I had to call the company because one, the design made no sense. I'm looking
Mhm.
at how the arms went together, like it was a full like trailer arm kit and everything. And I called them and I said, "What is the torque on this setup?" And the guy was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What do I mean?" I was like, "You guys have pictures on your Instagram, like you have thousands of these in a warehouse." I'm like, "What is the torque spec on any of the bolts on this?" And the guy goes, "Well, it's common sense, of course." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Common
What does that
sense?"
even mean?
I was like, "Are you serious?"
Gluten tight.
I was like, this guy
Dugga.
has. I was
3
like,
Duggas.
yeah. I was like, the
No,
guy was
no,
like, well,
Ugga
well,
Dugga. It's two. It's two. It's
yeah.
Ugga Dugga. Come on. Come
He
on.
goes,
Not
it's suspension
threes
parts.
when
He's
you
like,
snap it up.
the guy's like arguing with me, like I'm supposed to know what his product torques to. It's all custom parts. And
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to let you know, right, the design of this, that this trailer arm is going to snap based on how you guys have set this up. I was like, I can't even believe you guys sell this stuff. And then on top of that, I was like, this guy's got 2 car seats in the back of this pickup truck. So I was like, it's a little concerning that you don't care what the torque spec is on a full custom drag kit for
Yeah.
an F-150 because you make thousands of them and you sell, I'm pretty sure, most of them. So like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
and like, that's the problem though, is like, all it takes is one company that says we torque it to common sense. And now Subaru teams up with this company and they are using that as an OEM product. Now what? Now what happens if that car with those car seats does have a problem? Now all of a sudden Subaru's on the hook for it and they're looking at this suspension company saying, "What the heck?" And the guy's like, "Well, that's you're
Common
just like,
sense.
you know what I mean?" It's like, I can see the risk. And I feel like that's why they have to be like really intense on what they use.
They
But like,
have to be. Is
but
from an
like,
OEM standpoint and how crazy stuff has gotten, they have to be. And that's one of the things with
Yeah.
racing, they can get a little bit looser. Okay. But for street use stuff, things are gonna sell to the public. It's a lot harder. And that's why they
yeah,
have their in-house STI company, and I wish they'd use that more. Personally, I think Subaru, I don't know if people realize this, but the S209 was actually brought here as an STI, not a Subaru. It is its own like brand within a brand. So like Lexus, Toyota, like
Yeah, yeah.
like they have this in the ability to do that. They went through all the bullshit to do that. I think they should do more with that company.
Yeah.
And I think some of that is
Interesting.
maybe working with some companies with aftermarket parts stuff.
So Dave and I had this thought of like, you look at Ford with Roush, with Saline, with Shelby.
Mhm.
Why are they not making a VSC edition car and an STI car? And then they're competing with themselves. And now you have the Subaru community trying to debate which one's better and each person,
I
but
think they're
it's like
worried about cannibalizing their own sales. And the other thing that I will say is the type of buyer for a Mustang versus the type of buyer for an STI, they're different animals.
very different. Yeah,
They're
that's true.
very different animals, and a part of me almost wonders if they trust the community to do it right. Now, what I would like to see from Subaru though is I'd like to see them celebrate what the aftermarket is doing more. Maybe it's not being sold straight off their lot, okay?
Good
But
point.
I would like to see them enthusiastic about what's going on in the aftermarket. This is a conversation we had before too. You want to do something really sweet? I think all STIs should be the new STI. I think it should be build to order. And I think one of the things that you can order with it is to have it with or without a warranty. Order it if you know you're going to immediately void the warranty because you're going to modify this. Why the hell am I paying for it? Save
Wow.
us the money. It saves you the heartache.
True.
Immediately buy it without a warranty. I want it with no radio. I want it with the really sweet carbon fiber wing and badass wheels and brakes. Give it to me up like that.
Yeah.
And like if we could order stuff like that, and that's something I think you could do in an STI
Interesting.
dealership. How sick would that be? And then they trust their aftermarket to do it right. But then on Subaru's
Look at-
end of this, they need to
But-
Look
celebrate
at
that.
Hyundai.
But
They've
is
done
it worth
Look at Hyundai. They've done it with the Genesis. There's Genesis dealers.
Sure. But I mean, they also like Lexus and all of that. Genesis is just trying to be Lexus for Hyundai.
Well, my question is if you're going to buy a Porsche GT3 RS, right, fully loaded, it's going to come with a warranty, right?
You could order your STI with a warranty.
So what I'm saying
but
is,
most people who buy a GT3 RS are not modifying it.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I get what you're
The,
saying.
the
Yeah.
people who are going to buy an STI, a vast majority of them, a vast majority of them are looking at that as a blank slate. They're going to customize that car in some way. And there's a good group of them, I would say 25 to 30% who are going to walk in there and know immediately they're going to destroy that warranty. Why would they pay for that?
This is what I'm talking about. Why can't you order an IAG version of a car? Why can't you order? Because you
I
look
can
at
understand
Roush.
why they could get the best of both worlds, though. I agree with you. But they could get the best of both worlds if they do what I just said.
Mhm.
And then they take their stuff to an IAG dealer. But then Subaru on their end goes, look what you can do with our cars. We gave you the perfect blank sheet and we
Yeah.
want you to do this. But
Yeah.
it should, and they should make all of their fun parts that they
Yeah.
make
It's
themselves
like Shelby.
more accessible.
But that's
It's like
the thing.
Shelby.
That's
It'd be like Shelby to Ford in
that's-
some capacity.
That's the thing with Roush, right? Like they work hand in hand. Roush knows what they're working with. They produce a car that comes with a supercharger. They have a stage 1, a stage 2, a stage 3. They're
Mhm.
putting it under a warranty, and you get to choose different stages of the
but
car.
let's be honest, that's a warranty through Roush. That's really not a warranty through Ford. I guarantee you, Roush is picking up.
You got to take it
picking
to
up
their particular dealerships and all of that.
Dewey
So-
agrees. It's
But why can't it
If
be
you
that
offer
way?
a warranty on our engines, but you have to go to a certified engine installer to have it installed to get that to your warranty. It'd be no different. I got to be real.
Yeah,
Now,
if
with
you have
that
Joe
stated,
Schmo install an IAG engine who's never installed a Subaru engine in his life, respectfully, no offense, you guys ain't warranting anything. Why would you? Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, he didn't hook up a ground wire, and you guys have to spend 2 weeks troubleshooting with that guy why his engine
I
doesn't
could go on
start.
for days. We had a dude, like, I don't know how much I should go into this,
Just
but
saying.
it is just too funny. Okay, we had a guy, this was all basically right around the time I started. The first conversation I ever had to listen to Pat deal with a guy, he was 100% convinced his IAG block was causing stray voltage in the car. The block. Okay, the block was causing the stray voltage. And it was, oh my god, it was the most having to explain to him there's no way your short block is creating electricity was the most insane conversation I've ever heard.
Oh my god.
That's the sort of stuff that, like, this is why you need certified engine installers and things of that nature. But I it would be really
Yeah.
cool for, let's say, Six Star Motorsports in Chicago works really close with Grand Subaru, which is near there, okay? And like
Yeah.
they're an STI dealer, and like maybe they could straight deliver that your brand new STI without a warranty over there. You know, maybe they
Yeah.
can work together. Maybe there's something you could, I think they'd be better off facilitating that. But going back to this, I think Subaru needs to celebrate the stuff that the aftermarket is doing more than they are now, instead of trying to avoid it, like literally embrace it.
Yeah. Now, here's a question. Talking about aftermarket, right?
Sure.
Subaru still uses Recaro seats. So you look at the VA platform. What is the point, right? Like, why work with a company like Recaro to put a Recaro seat when they're making an almost identical looking seat that is the STI seats that is a non-Recaro, right? I know the Recaro is much better and more supportive and it's different, but like
Sure.
what but like why even bother working with a company like that? Like, does it really make that big of a difference? Did you really sell more STIs because they
There's
have
brand
them?
recognition with things like Recaro. I agree. And when you're trying to go up market, which they were doing with the VA, okay,
Mhm,
if you're trying to go up
mhm.
market and go party with Audi and all that, that's what they were doing. Okay,
That's true.
that's their approach.
And
In
Brembos.
my personal opinion, I think they should scrap that whole concept.
Yeah. You know, I had a list here of like the history of a lot of different parts that have made it into OEM, kind of
Mhm.
capabilities. We had the Momo steering wheels in the original,
Brand
bug
recognition.
eyes and everything. We've had Recaro seats, we've had Brembo brakes, we've had
Mhm.
BBS wheels. Ford had Fox suspension kits on the Raptors.
These are all companies that make, they were making OEM stuff, and they made it look like they're aftermarket OEM stuff though.
Yes.
These are
And
companies
and
that did both.
Yeah, Chevy had Multimatic, which got into the Camaros, the Colorados, the Corvettes. Shelby America shook hands with Ford. They got to make their own versions of the F-150 and all these other
Sure.
crazy things. Toyota has TRD, which I feel like is kind of like STI. It's more of an
And
in-house
that's an
brand.
in-house tuner.
Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Same thing as Nissan with the Nismo. I think
Same
that's
thing,
in-house.
in-house tuner. But if you were to
Now,
talk about, let's say, Spoon, you know what I mean, for Honda,
yeah,
that's a drastically different animal than
Mm.
Mugen,
yeah.
which again was more of an in-house tuner.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. What's kind of throwing me is that, like, it sucks because, you kind of could build up these small companies that are making really good products. And not only that, are
Sure.
good for the brand and good for the vehicle. I mean, the AOS kits are pretty much a go to at this
But
point, you
then you
know?
have to turn around, okay, and you've got to go through all the EPA testing and all the insanity with that, okay? Or I and it would make the same effect on these companies if
Mhm.
Subaru again would just celebrate themselves what you can do with the aftermarket. Okay, like use their social media arm to talk about how awesome it was that we just won our eighth straight, gridlife time attack
Yeah,
event, where we just set a whole, that would be something really cool to celebrate,
yeah,
and all Subarus won due to that. I believe everybody wins. That's a rising tide raises all boats situation. And Subaru themselves should celebrate because that is a Subaru just to the top thing. And they should embrace their aftermarket, which, comma, pause for effect, I think they're doing. We're starting to see this, okay? Because they seem to care about the enthusiasts now. In years past, they did not.
yeah,
This is
Mhm.
so I do believe we're starting to see a shift. What this will look like, I don't know. But I personally, I think the an initiative in that direction not only would be, it'd be a low dollar amount lift,
yeah,
but it would accomplish the same thing. Subaru is not big enough to be able to, deal with a whole pile of warranty claims because Roush screwed up. You know what I mean?
yeah. Some of the hurdles that I've kind of come up with is, um, first off, let's just say use the AOS as like an example. If that was going to become Subaru comes to you, they say, hey, we want to make this a production thing. We
Yeah.
realize that it's got potential, right? Now you got to pass EPA, our global regulations, noise
Yes.
standards.
At least you'd have to pass it in the US. And then you got to
Part of
teach dealerships to put it in.
yeah, then, it's like they're gonna come to you and say, "Do you have the manufacturing capability?" They're
You
gonna
do.
start looking at the design, maybe they change it, and now you guys have to deal with that on the back end, that they are messing with something you guys have tried and
Yes.
true
Well, that's
tested.
something we're dealing with right now, that we don't technically have 25 like 2025 VB AOSs right now because they made a very slight change and it totally threw a wrench in the whole thing. So, like,
Yeah,
when they do that, then that backs all the way back up to us because we're not in that mix. That
you're
would
not in
be
the loop.
just
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah. Would the OEM version have to be simplified to be able to meet production standards
Maybe, and
and
then
all
does
the
it
other
work as well?
standards? Yep. Would warranty requirements force compromises on the product? Would enthusiasts still buy an upgraded AOS if it came from the factory? And then would that success, actually cannibalize IAG's core business because now it's coming on the cars? And if that is their flagship item that they sell the most of, now, I guess they're getting the profit from Subaru, but like,
Well, I mean, let's look at it from this point of view. Let's say Subaru did come to us and go, "You guys make a killer AOS." First off, here's how Subaru would go about this. They would buy the rights to the AOS,
yeah,
okay,
that's
or
true.
their version of the AOS, and then they would mass produce it themselves. Now, if they wanted the IAG name, if they felt that that was valuable enough to them, the volume would be there because we'd be on, let's say the take rate for it was half and
Mhm.
half of the vehicles sold. Okay, and let's say they do 10,000 STIs that first year, which is a huge number, but that means we just sold 5,000 AOSs. Sick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
right now, JJ's like, we will figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, it will get done. And if you've been into IEG, we got a few CNC machines. We just, some that are making something else would start making AOSs. Okay,
Yeah.
we would figure it out. But in the end, do I think it would cannibalize us? No. Do I see Subaru doing that? I don't. No. And I know it sounds crazy, but I don't. What I'd like to see is maybe dealerships. We have some dealerships get real aftermarket friendly.
Mhm.
I mean, Chevy did this back in the day. You can go look up like Benton in Grand Rapids, Michigan, did all sorts of special edition Camaros and stuff back in the 90s. And they're really aftermarket friendly. I think maybe they have some, STI super aftermarket friendly dealerships, and maybe they become IEG certified engine installers.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe
mean,
they stock some of our stuff.
I've seen that, at least in my time at Ford, when the Bronco came out, that was like a big deal. And they
Mhm.
were actually selling their own Ford tuner that was like a little bit of an upgrade to kind of
Sure.
get more boost out of the Bronco. And then like you go to the dealership and they're selling wheels for it, they're selling exhaust kits. Like they do have some kind of aftermarket, but at the same time, like you're saying, it's not the same thing as if they were to buy the rights to something and like try to mass produce it, or if they were.
Personally, I think Subaru should take this STI brand. They should take their larger dealerships. They should put like an STI section. They need to hire enthusiasts to actually man that, and then they should sell parts to not only older Subarus. Like they should start firing up some of their older part numbers and stuff,
Yeah.
and sell parts for the older Subarus to keep those enthusiasts happy. But that's where you go
Yeah.
and get your
They're starting to do
STI.
that with their
That's where
legacy
you buy
program.
your what's that?
They're starting to do that with their legacy program.
Which is sick for some of the old GC8 stuff. I want to
Yep.
see that
Yeah.
come for the GD STIs and
Yep.
things of that.
I
We need to see some of that stuff
That's
come back.
huge.
And they could charge a premium for this stuff. It's stuff they already made, already developed. I would be more than
Well,
happy to pay like a 30% premium to know I could go in there and get a brand new carburetor.
I wouldn't go that far,
Sorry.
but
No, I'm dead serious.
something
That's what
something
some of
that
this is
that,
gonna
that
be.
resonates with me as an automotive technician for all of my career,
Mhm.
pretty much, other than delivering some pizzas back when I was, in college. Who didn't? But I've been in the automotive industry for pretty much my entirety. And one thing that really resonates was one time I worked with BMWs specifically. And all of a
Sure.
sudden, I realized that BMW has never discontinued a single part. Look this up.
That would
If you want to
suck.
buy a nut, bolt, washer,
That's
anything,
hard.
doesn't matter. If for anyone who doesn't know, if you want to buy a BMW Isetta, which is the old bubble car,
Yep.
all glass, the glass, yes, you can buy one. It's on the shelf in Germany in a warehouse. It'll probably take you 2 to 3 weeks, but you can order one. You can buy a brand new carpet for a BMW 2002. And it's
I
not a
love that.
2002 for anyone who doesn't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, for guys who know, it's a 2002 was the model. But
Yep.
yeah, you can buy every part, every nut, bolt, washer. BMW made it a philosophy. We will never discontinue a product. If you want to buy this part, we will make it.
And again, I love everything about that. And I hope they do.
Agreed.
But it's going to end up falling into this legacy program. And the problem is they have already discontinued a bunch of this, and they're going to have to refire a bunch of it back up.
Yeah.
Agreed. And Subaru
Toyota
has
did it.
never followed that philosophy, of course.
Well,
no
So
offense.
they're gonna have to start at some point, and the longer they get away from it, the harder it's gonna be to fire back up. But they already started doing it with GC
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
So bring GD
Yes.
stuff, and then that's what I'm saying. If the enthusiasts are gonna be the people who go into the STI stuff and go into this like STI side of the
The
dealership.
archive.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
want to go in the archives and I want to buy this stupid piece of trim, okay? And like we should be able to get that stuff, and they should open. Honestly, they should open up the JDM stuff for
I'm
us too.
okay if it
Why
takes 2 to
wouldn't
3
you?
weeks to get to me. I'm okay with 2 to 3
no,
weeks.
exactly.
I-
Most of us would be.
I get it's coming from Japan, and you know what? I'm gonna probably have to pay a premium on shipping, whatever you want to call it,
Tariffs and all
taxes
that.
and tariffs and all
Yep.
that. Yeah, but so be it. The part should be available, and that's how BMW, to their
I agree with you.
respect, has never ever left a single customer ever,
Which is,
and that's
I want that to
pretty
exist,
respectful.
but I want Subaru to like embrace the enthusiast side of this too. Open up the JDM catalog for like everybody in the world. We should all be able to, if they made it, we should be able to get a hold of it. Okay,
Yeah.
even if we gotta
Agreed.
pay a dumb
Agreed.
premium for it. Like if I want a
I don't
brand new
mind.
S202 wing, I will, and I gotta pay $5,000 for it. If I'm stupid enough to pay it, they should have it.
Yeah.
Amen.
You know, it really makes me think what their capabilities are overseas, because you think about Subaru as a company and they are huge, but like in the realm of manufacturers, they're small. I think
Teeny.
that
True.
realistically, like all of these companies could just like swallow them, and it's like, where would they keep this stuff? Is it worth them keeping an open log of everything and remaking it for any kind of person in need? Like
Yep.
even like they would have to charge enough that it would be almost ridiculous, I think, because at that point, like that's the only way it'd be worth it.
I think
Or
But
it would
we would
have
pay
to
it.
be enthusiast-based vehicles, and that's
Or-
where they're going to have to. And honestly, that's why you would have to maybe say it's only STIs, okay? But that's going to open up a ton of Impreza stuff that trickles in.
but like at the
Agreed.
same time, like you're saying, like a legacy program,
Outbacks.
like why don't they have a separate like sector of Subaru that just specializes in remaking old parts? And even look at this is in everything that goes outdated, right? A lot of times these companies, they have like some kind of legacy program where the stuff goes in and it's discontinued, right? Well, why don't you bring it out in handfuls of like limited bunches and sell this and that?
I
know
think
that
it needs to be made available, and like,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of this stuff exists. Even the tooling to make most of this stuff still exists. They need an excuse to make it.
Agreed.
But
Okay.
so this is the problem.
That's
this is
why I see the legacy
exactly
program being a thing.
this
They're-
is
they're like,
exactly
You know what? Tell us to make it. Make
This
this.
is-
Make this.
Well, okay, Dave, hold
Yeah,
up.
or
This
find
is the
somebody to make it.
problem. This is the problem I have with dealers that I deal with every single day, is that when you order something from a dealer that they have discontinued, right? They have a back order. The back order builds up. Could be 200 people, it could be 300 people.
Yep.
It could be a recall item and they still don't have it in
Right.
stock. And what happens is the dealer doesn't want to make one-offs. So they wait till the list gets to 500 and then
Absolutely.
they make 500 of them
Sure.
because they know there's
Agreed.
500 people waiting, ship them all, and now there's none. And now the back order list starts up again. Why don't they do some kind of system like that for older Subaru parts
What
where
they
people
could.
don't
And
don't really
it
care.
would be really cool if they
Yeah.
actually got into it, like, we live in an internet age, okay? There's so much cool
Yeah.
stuff we could do. So, like, let's
Group
say,
buys?
yeah, it'd be kinda like a group buy.
Yeah.
Subaru themselves says, "We're gonna make the S202 wing. They're gonna be $3,000 a piece, but they are literally the OEM quality carbon S202 wing. If you want
And
in on these."
500 of them. That's it.
Yeah, well,
500.
they don't
That's
even
it.
gotta set a number. You have to have your order in by this time. The minimum amount is 50, okay? Like, we can't make it if we do anything less than 50. I guarantee those things would fill up immediately. And
But
what you would end up
good
getting is
point.
not only, like, enthusiasts like me, but
3,200.
you'll have companies like Import Image or Subi Mods or something like that going, "Well, we're gonna go buy 10 of them." And then they'll keep them on the shelf.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think,
You're right.
the problem with the modern era
I'd buy them.
is
Yeah.
like scalpers who I think like they try to buy if they have the ability to, right? They'll buy all of them. You know what I
The
mean? Like,
market's gonna dictate what that is, though. So, like, scalpers will
Yeah.
go and buy whatever. The something is going to cost what people are willing to pay for it. Okay, so like we all can hate scalpers, all right? Like Porsche is a perfect example. Porsche will release a car at $200,000, right? And
Mhm.
then a bunch of people will buy it, and then they'll turn around and flip it for 350,000.
Yep.
I and everybody's mad at the scalper for that. I got to be real. You know who I'm mad at? Porsche for not selling it for $300,000 because they just missed out on
Yes.
$100,000 of
Yes.
profit they could have turned around, put right back into the car,
Yep.
making a
Thank
better
you.
car.
Thank
And
you.
and so like the market dictates what the price is.
Yeah.
So if
Agreed.
Subaru is seeing that all of these wings, let's say 50 of them got sold, right? But then the aftermarket out on Facebook, they were sold for $3,000, but they're going for 5. Okay, and they're selling like hotcakes at 5. Subaru screwed up because they didn't sell them for $5,000,
Yeah.
and they're
Amen.
gonna.
But then again, in a legacy program where they're putting out these products for the first time again in a long time, how do you
Sure.
dictate what that price is? The
I
market is going to dictate, but you're not going to find out until
That's
after
hard.
you open the gates
Well,
and
I
it's
gotta
kind of
be
like
real.
out
Like
there.
a lot of the basic stuff, carpet, trim pieces, whatever. I think
That's
they just
yeah.
need to make a quantity of them, have them ready to go. Some of
Yeah.
the really weird one-off crap, S202 wings, like weird braces, stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Stuff that like is very, very niche. Especially
Yeah.
like
You know it's
10
rare.
series
You know
cars.
it's rare.
Yeah, the car itself was rare to begin with. 22B rear wings, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Stuff like that stuff. I think they would have to go in kind of a group buy-esque thing.
Yeah. It's upsetting
Agreed.
to see the STI kind of come away because I feel like that was the brand that was making a lot of these cool items that people wanted and would be essentially adopted into a legacy program. And now because we've gone away from the STI legacy, the STI kind of situation, now that we're coming back into it, it makes it more of a conversation of like, this could be a fresh start, right? They could be like, hey, this is the STI. We're starting this, we're not going to discontinue any of these STI parts going forward.
Sure.
Right. Like even if you don't want to backlog and go back and dig all this stuff up and deal with old parts and whatever. Okay. I get that.
They should
Whatever.
start now.
They could start now and
I
they
agree.
could start with this whole new process where
Yep.
they have a new car. There's a lot of hype behind it. People know these parts aren't going anywhere. People know that they're going to be able to get cool STI specific stuff forever. I
Even
think
if
it's
they
just,
commit, even if they say they commit for like 30 years,
yeah,
that would say so much.
yeah. Yeah, I
And if
agree
they're
with that.
still so, I gotta be real, man. That type of car, even the new STI that's coming, that is a dying breed of vehicle, and
Yeah.
I think that's gonna really resonate with especially a lot of people my age who we grew up in a driver's era of cars that you could get a million different cars in a manual, and now enthusiast cars are not easy to get a hold of, or they have turned into frickin' PlayStations on wheels, and
Yeah. Takeover cars.
this is a throwback to a simpler time, and I think you're gonna see a lot of people really hyped up about this, and I think it's gonna do pretty well.
Yeah.
And I hope they embrace that,
I mean,
and
there's a reason that Bring a Trailer does $1.3 billion a year. I'm just going
Yeah.
to say, because they're only selling old shit that people want. It's like, yes, do they sell some newer cars? Sure. But realistically, a lot of the big ticket items, I mean, we just all saw on Cars and Bids the '04 STI that went for a bajillion dollars
Yep.
because it was just clean with low mileage and it was mint. And it was like, that is where the money is. Like these older cars people still want, and the ones that need the help, they're not going to be able to get it because Subaru isn't making the parts.
It's where the enthusiasm is,
Yeah.
okay? And especially in that era of cars, that's where the enthusiasm is starting to drastically pick up. And I
Mm,
think the market
hmm.
I think Subaru's seeing this. I honestly think the aftermarket is not seeing this the way they should right now. They're not realizing what's happening, and I think they're gonna get caught behind the 8 ball.
Now, the
Mm.
company that made the limited production of the 22B replicas, that had a ton of hype behind it, and they
What,
sold
ProDrive?
for yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, ProDrive's kind of their own thing too. It really
But
wasn't a 22B replica, it was its own thing.
yeah, I mean, they were trying to make like, they were trying to bring
They
back
were
the
trying to do a
22B in a way.
throwback to the original WRC rule set
Yeah.
Mm.
after Group A WRC rule set 22B style WRC car that you could drive on the street because people were excited. Now again, that's a perfect example of like ProDrive saw there's enthusiasm around this era of cars. We
Mhm.
should these will sell. And
Yep.
they did that. But that was I don't want to say it was to keep ProDrive relevant, but it was kind of a celebration of stuff that they'd done in the past. You know,
Yeah. My
what I
my
think there's a modern take though on the current the almost resto mod that you can do in your garage with say like your own '05 STI that you picked off up of Facebook Marketplace. I think there is a massive market for that. I talk to these people all the time of people trying to do this and
Mhm.
I think Subaru is going to miss the ball on they could be capitalizing on this but so could the entire aftermarket on what we used to think was those are the leftover cars. We don't want to deal with them anymore. I can't tell you how many shops I've talked to that won't even touch a GD anymore because they're like, well, they're all trash. Like, you guys are screwing this up. Those are the dudes you want that 45-year-old dude who he will pay you whatever it takes to make that car right.
Yep.
That's what he wants. He doesn't want a VA. He wants that.
Yep. I mean, we
Stop trying to market to the 25, 30-year-old person. Start trying to market to the 45-year-old because
you
they
know,
have
we
the money.
we had a Hawkeye come in last week that, it was slammed, it had gold wheels, it had a cracked carbon hood, all of the stuff that's like a red flag, like it's had
Yeah.
gauges everywhere. It had gauge pods with no gauges. It had like,
Yeah.
the shifter was like
There's tons
the
of those
crown
out there.
the crown royal bag, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
and all the guy wanted was he said, I just want a stage 2 clutch with a flywheel and I want the upgraded fork from Varus. And I was like, cool. We ordered everything. We put it in. Thing drove mint. He loves it. Cool. That guy told me that he loves that car. It's his fun car. He doesn't care what it looks like. He said the thing rips. And boom,
Mhm.
like there you go. That guy is a Subaru guy and he's happy. And I
So,
think that
like,
like,
I love
the
those dudes, but then the
yeah.
flip side of this is I literally have these guys who are calling me. They're like, "Hey, man, I used to have a PRX or an STI, back in the day. I had to sell it because I had kids, or career, or I got hurt, or I got deployed, or whatever reason. I
Mhm.
just bought another one." And I want to put something together. Almost always they hit me up. They're like, I hear you can make like 700 horsepower in these things now. And I'm like, dude, that ain't what you want. Okay. We talk about it for a little bit. And what almost always ends up happening is a 750 with a 1.5 G2R, basic flex fuel
Mm.
setup, and just a really well-rounded like 400 to 450 horsepower car with
Yeah.
nice suspension, nice wheels. They're gonna take this to a body shop and get really cleaned up, and they do all of it right the first time. And the cars are mint, but when the bill comes for this thing, they spent 15 grand on the car and then they turn around and they put 35 into it and they didn't even blink
Yep.
because they want it right and they can afford it now. They
Yep.
just want to do the car they wanted when they were in their 20s and they can do it now. And we can do it so much better now than we could then. The cars drive so much better. Engine management's so much better. The turbo tech is so much better. The tires are better.
Agreed.
Suspension is better. There's so much stuff we can do with these cars now that are so much better than what it was back in the day. And they love these cars and they go, that's their 911. And what's
Yep.
crazy is they go
Back
eat
back in
911
the day, we were dealing with eBay suspension. Let's be honest.
eBay
Come
everything.
on.
Yeah.
Top
Raceland.
Come
access
on, man. Come on.
Do you remember the U-Tech? Oh my God. You
Oh my
know,
God.
and people putting fake
The
HS
eBay
blow
body
valves
kits
on
that
left
you
and
buy for
right.
$200 and then you find out it's $2,000 to ship it to you. You're like,
Yes.
wait,
Oh, yeah.
what? And this was back in the 1990s, 2000s era. $2,000 in shipping was a lot of money. Like,
Yeah.
you're
Dude,
like,
and
wait,
we're
what?
just it's so much has changed now, and it's actually really easy to build these cars and build them really reliable, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yes.
they're awesome, and I love it.
With the right parts, like you said. With the
Yes,
right
there's
parts.
we
We
had
didn't have that.
we had none of that because we're all trying to we all came out of like DSMs and shitbox turbo Hondas trying to figure out how to make these cars work, and we didn't understand it. But now we have 30 years of aftermarket experience that we can drive right into these cars if we figured out how to do it right because we've done it wrong so many different ways that we have
Yeah.
a prescription to do these so good now. And these cars are mint, and
Agreed.
then dudes get them and they cruise them, they have a good time, they're taking their wives and their kids places, and it's so much different
It's
than what I thought
reliable.
it was gonna be.
Now, do you find that all of these like social media guys, like Brandon Shoeborn or whatever his name is, I forget,
Media, it's a good
you know,
example.
media, these guys who are
I
well,
love
I'm
Tanner.
talking about the guys that are taking the Subaru engine out and they're putting something else in. One of the guys who's been on our podcast,
Heresy.
he put a K series in his blah by. We got the one that was that wicked big with the GTR engine in it. It's like, do you think that is making Subaru owners think twice about what they're doing because they're seeing a big power engine with a big turbo in their,
If we were talking 10 years ago, I bet you they were going, maybe that is an option. We could do that, right? Now, again, we have the most reliable car in grid life. All right. We spin
That's true.
9,500 RPM. We make mid 600s and we shit on time attack records all over the country.
Yeah.
What more do you need? And it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what more you need. Then you got the flip side of this. That made all the sense in the world for the BRZ, right?
Mhm.
It did. The FA20, I got to be real. NA, it was a yawn. I still have one in my BRZ. It needs 40 more horsepower. Well, guess what? FA24 fixes all of that. You get exactly the right amount of power you needed with a little bit of extra torque. The torque dip is gone. You're competitive with a bolt-ons K series. It just drops right in. There's no need to do anything else. And guys are winning in like Club TR in Grid Life. Guys are winning in GLTC wheel to wheel against some of the craziest Hondas in the country. Go look up Eric Catil if you like. That car is absolutely nuts. And then you got Andy Smedegaard with a basic swapped FA24 swap first gen BRZ winning races right next to him, and so it didn't make sense. Like 10 years ago, looking at swapping something else in maybe made sense, and then people were doing it for oohs and ahs. Now, I gotta be real, engine managements came a long way. People's willingness to go to a standalone has changed a lot of this too. Got to be real.
Yeah,
Stock
true.
engine management,
Sure.
complete garbage. Anything over 500. I said it.
Yep.
Come fight me.
Yep.
So the
I agree.
willingness to go to a standalone has changed a lot of stuff, and we've gotten significantly better at building engines. Okay,
Yeah.
and we have the ability to make these. We have again 30 plus years of aftermarket experience from all sorts of different corners of the world making these engines work, and they really, really do work now. They really, really work. And so when I see somebody stick some V8 or, big Japanese inline six or a K series into especially an all-wheel drive Subaru, I think you're losing your damn mind. The one thing that made that car good was
I
all-wheel
agree,
drive.
too.
If you lose that in that situation, that thing's a piece of shit.
You
And
missed the point.
again,
You missed the
like,
point.
you missed the point. There's so many better chassis to put that in.
Now, some of the rumblings I've been hearing from some tuners is that they're feeling more comfortable going 350 to 400 on the VA platform. How do you feel about that?
VA or VB?
Or sorry, on the FA platform.
The FA, especially the VB, the FA24, really
Yeah.
good engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can literally the trans probably ain't gonna hold too long. You can go upper 300s, no problem on a VB and it'll last. Really, really
Yeah.
solid unit. That's one of the big reasons that we didn't make like a stage 2 or like a IEG 600 FA24. To be perfectly honest, we didn't think there'd be enough of a market for it. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a decent market for it now, but like we decided to go for the big engine first because most of those guys, when they crapped the engine, they wanted to go hard.
Hmm.
And there wasn't like, I just want something a little better than stock. Like they would just throw another stock engine in, maybe dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
The we went
Mhm.
straight for the 1000. And so it's a gnarly engine because there really wasn't that like IEG 750 EJ guy. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was there wasn't really an in between. And that's because the stock engine was really good. And I gotta be real, I bet you the new STI engine's slightly better.
Yeah. Do you think the FA20 kind of pales a little bit to the 24?
It does. I gotta be real, there's some things that the FA is gonna have to figure out before it becomes like the Subaru K series, okay?
Yeah.
Which is like when we cross this threshold, what you're gonna see is guys like me, or you're gonna see GCs with FA24 swaps. Okay.
Mm.
But they gotta cross this. The two big things. There needs to be a lot easier and really good way of adding port injection. Okay. And it's the price of that has to come down
Yep.
and it has to be the implementations of it so far haven't been great unless you go and buy a Motec, which
Yep.
so you're instantly in for 10K, and that jump is insane. And
Yep.
nobody's going to do
It
that as
shouldn't
a
be
typical
unobtainium.
enthusiast. It shouldn't be, but it is currently because there's not enough people who went
Uh,
hard enough into it. And
Yeah.
two, and this is the one that everybody kind of doesn't seem to realize, is Subaru integrated the oil pump into the timing cover in the front, and that
Yep.
oil pump does not like going past its factory red line.
Mm,
Especially in the BRZ, 7500's it. Okay, the people who wanted to like push it to 8K, then their engine shits. It isn't a valve train issue. It's literally an oil pump
It's
problem, and
yeah, it's a cavitation issue.
we are. I'm not saying that we aren't not looking into it, but there is a lot of
Yeah,
it
there's
the
there's
juice has
issues.
to be worth the squeeze, and currently it's not, but
yeah.
it is
Yeah,
coming.
there
Okay,
there's physical limitations is what I was trying to say.
absolutely.
And that's the problem. It's like, okay, it all of a sudden you get to a point. We have to redesign the whole system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's gonna have to be a massive rethink, and that's
Overhaul.
but then you got to ask: is your typical enthusiast, when they want to go throw a built engine on, going to be willing to throw a $3,500 front cover on to fix their oiling problems?
I was gonna say
And that's like,
I
how
was about to
much
say
of a
five
lift is
thousand
that?
dollars, but you're
They
generous
just
saying $3,500 because
yeah,
that's what it would take.
that's what it would
And
take
thirty five
on
hundred
top
dollars is
of them
it's when you
already
do it in
spending money on their
scale.
heads, their heads and all that work, and their crazy ass
Uh
bottom
huh.
end. So let's say you got
Uh huh.
a $12,000 bottom end, then tack another $3,500 on top of that. Now we haven't even
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
tuning. We don't got a turbo. We
Yeah.
don't. So at
Yeah.
some
No.
point
No.
you got to start
Exclude
asking.
everything else. That's just a
But with
block.
volume, so if a lot of people are doing that, the price of something like that, in theory, would come down a little bit.
Yeah. I you know, it's really interesting because I feel like Subaru is on this like path, right?
Mhm.
Like it is coming. They're seeing these issues, they are fixing them, they're making the changes necessary. I think that like this next jump is going to be crazy. I think that for them to come out and push the way that they are pushing, it's a totally different look. And not just that,
Yeah,
but like to present 3 manual cars like that to the whole community, they are like 10 toes down, like, "We hear you guys, we're
I
coming," it's
I
like
this is I can't stress this enough. We live in an amazing time right now to be a Subaru enthusiast. I think we're on
yeah.
the cusp of something insane.
I think that Toyota
I
has
hope you're right.
proven that Subaru was waiting for that green light of, is the community still there and are they backing this? And I think that Toyota said, "Let's find out." And they threw everything at the board and then everybody went, "Holy crap, this is amazing." I think that they also heard back from the community after they put a BMW engine in the Supra and people were like, "What are you doing? Why is there no manual option?" Why is it only
Oh,
automatic?
yeah.
And like, you know, I
Subaru was definitely watching that, but I think Subaru really got the point when they released the RS here in the States at one of the Subi events, and the crowd booed.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that was bad.
this is what you're trying to give the enthusiast? That's what you think we want?
Yeah,
Like, like, I actually kind of felt bad for some of the people that were like Bucky kind of had to try to defend that because he was kind of on as a spokesperson. That did
yeah,
not go over well. That
no,
wasn't anything Bucky. It was not on Bucky at all. It was, you really asked him to sell
sure.
this to a community who's going, you guys are shitting all over us, and that's what you give us?
Yeah, it's just like if Car and Driver created a car, that was it. You know?
Hey, yeah, this is what the kids want.
Yeah, my God, yeah, it was brutal, man. That was a hard video to watch, honestly. It was like,
Oh, it was bad, dude.
but like that's
You felt
again
bad
like,
for Bucky though. Again, to your
How could
point,
you
like
not?
it was not Bucky.
but
He's
you know
not
what?
Subaru.
No,
But
For anyone who thinks
no,
it's like Bucky was no, he
but
was
you know
not
what?
no.
You know what? If I
the
was
guy.
Bucky, I'd be like, hey, I love you guys. I will never do this again.
I'm out.
If I,
Peace.
for a car that I don't personally back, I will never do this again.
Yeah,
I'm not going to tarnish my personal brand backing this. Like this is not for
it's
me.
that was. I've never seen one out in
That
the
was
wild.
hard to
With it.
watch.
I've
I
never seen one of those RSs in the wild.
Yeah. It's like all these companies try something stupid, like when I went to
Sure.
Shelby America and I was touring the facility, they had a Mach E Mustang that was wrapped in a Borla wrap. And I was like, why? And,
What
and
are we
so I
doing?
and so I talked to my buddy who works there, and he goes, well, Borla is the one who makes the exhaust tones that come out of the speakers in the car. And I was like, I cannot believe that Borla would even put their name on the side of an electric car that they made the exhaust
I'm
tones
angry
for.
hearing about that.
I know. And it was one of those things that killed me. I was like, I
I was
can't.
triggered
It's
too.
I have a picture of it. It's the
That
most
hurts.
ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And
That
it's just
hurts.
like brutal.
Oh my
But
god.
but like that's how crazy we got. We decided to take the Mustang name, put it on an electric SUV, and then strap the Borla name on the side of it after we started making exhaust tones.
Hey, I am not a part of we there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, I I'm not holding you accountable for that.
Yeah, I do not.
You know, one of the coolest things, right, that I learned at the Shelby factory is that Carroll Shelby made his own car. He made the Shelby
Mhm.
One. It was a specific vehicle that he wanted for him. He
Yeah.
put in his will that anybody who ever owns one in the history of forever, you get free maintenance on anything the car ever needs. You take it to Shelby America, there's no bill, they fix the car.
Mhm.
That car, every single Shelby one that's out there will exist forever because if you ever buy one, you will never have to pay to fix it. And I think that like that right there is an enthusiast that was running a company that knew what it meant to be a car guy and knew that anybody who owned this car that he put his name on and his stamp on, he was like, I promise you, you will never have to worry about this car. And
Yeah,
I
He
think
was a
that
true
like,
enthusiast, not a good businessman.
but you know what?
true.
Those
It's
are
got
the
to make
guys
dollars to
though.
make sense, man. As cool as that
Yeah.
is, it's got to make
Yeah.
dollars to make
Like you said,
sense.
that's a select few. That's a select few that he did it once.
But
Yep.
Can
think
you imagine if
about,
he did that on every car?
you know what, Dave? Shelby still exists. So,
True.
for what it is, bad businessman, good businessman, whatever, he
Yeah.
made such an impact to so many people that people still seek out Shelby vehicles and they still
Oh,
drive them.
absolutely.
So like
Agree.
to be a creative guy and to be an enthusiast, he had that vision. And I think that like that's what these other manufacturers could use as like a vision guy. Like who's the
Yeah.
guy who
They needed
sees what the people see and
they
want
needed
and
I
like
just
nut
say you can
jobs.
only
I
do
gotta
that
be
on one
real.
car.
You need nut jobs, and there's not enough nut jobs in the company. There's not enough DeLoreans. There's not enough Carroll
Agreed.
Shelbys. There's not enough of Maximum Lutz. Like, there's not enough of these like straight up psychopaths that are like they don't care. But I truly believe one of them was running Toyota, and I hope he doesn't take offense to this when I say that. I really think the president of SOA isn't far off of that. The current,
yeah.
as we sit today, president is kind of crazy, and I kind of love it. I'm here for it. I want to be crazy with him.
Yeah.
Same. Let's go. Call us up. Let's have a group conference. Let's go.
Yes.
Group
Let's
Yes.
get
conference.
let's get everyone in the community together that
One
care,
day I'm gonna
and let's
corner
talk.
this man, and I'm gonna get him on a podcast, and we're gonna chat. And I don't know if he's gonna have to
Let's
have an
go, Dewey.
interpreter with him or whatever, but we're gonna sit down. We're gonna do this.
Interpreter. Dude's just sitting there waiting. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
What do you got to
No,
say?
I'm gonna study Japanese right now. Let's go.
right?
Dude, I could talk to you all day because I feel like I have so many things I'm mad about, and I feel like you're mad about the same
Dude,
things.
I'm the same guy though. Like I don't know. I'm just an enthusiast who beat his head against the wall long enough to turn this into something. Okay. So like
Yeah.
I still just see
Well
myself
said.
as an enthusiast, and that's me, and I feel like I'm lucky enough to be on podcasts and stuff like this and people listen to me rant, but I feel like I'm ranting about the same stuff a lot of people are saying also.
Yeah.
We're all
That
just one big community.
Yep.
That's true.
That's what's so tough is like everybody, sometimes you have to be the loudest voice in the room and then finally somebody listens to what the hell is going on. And it's
Mhm.
like doing this, right? Like you said, they listen to these, they watch them, they figure out what's going on. And I think that it does make some kind of impact.
It does. If we
and
don't talk about it and we don't say anything, or we're just ranting in strange corners of the internet,
Yep.
like they're never going to hear it, But with that stated, a non-enthusiast wasn't going to hear it anyway.
Yeah.
And you can tell by what they're doing right now that like this is not the same group of people that were there a few years ago.
Yeah. Real quick, I've never shown this picture before on here, but I'm gonna show you the Borla wrapped Maki.
Rage
Right?
bait, here we go.
Yeah. I walked out of Shelby America and I had to stop because I was like, what is this? It's like,
Oh my god, I'm so mad just looking at it.
I know. Dude, it's brutal. Like it says leading the herd since 78. It's just Borla everywhere. It's like, what are you doing? Who approved this rap?
Yeah, burn it.
But
Burn it
this
with
was
fire.
the car next to the front door when you walked in, which really blew my mind. I
That's
was like,
not okay.
I can't believe that they're
It's
pushing
not okay.
Just crazy.
You walk in to go check out like Cobras and GT40s, and that's what you're greeted with at the front. I gotta be real. I'd almost leave. I'd
Yeah.
be so angry. Like that whole tour would have started on a really shitty note.
Yeah. Yeah. I was happy I got to go, on the floor and like check out all the Hertz cars that were being made and stuff. Like that was at the time they were making the new Hertz ones.
Yeah.
And it was just cool to get that experience, to go back there and see what they were working on and stuff.
It's incredible for the facility.
Yeah. It's crazy because how big the name is. It's very small for what it is. Like they're like one mess up and you feel like that whole place could go down. Like it's just be like, so I think, this is a good point where we can kind of hit our last topic here. Everybody who comes on, we talk to them about Dave's Baja, which we touched on a little bit about his canola oil Baja.
Yes.
So the update on this thing is this thing has like 230,000 miles on it. And basically we've gotten the okay from
Actually,
Rally.
it's more like 240 now because we've been putting some miles on that thing.
Oh. So basically this started out as like let's just see what happens and see how long it can go. Now, what we found is that it works. It works really well, actually. I think that canola oil is like pretty viable in a non-turbo Baja. And then on top of that, yeah, well, there's no metal in the oil, right? We barely had to top it up. And
Done.
it's running. Like,
Yeah.
so now Dave has gotten permission from Rally Colorado for the Ethan Hunter Really Rally team to run the Baja as the recce car. And so Dave is strapping a brat seat in the bed of it, and he's gonna have a GoPro. So they're gonna drive it as the recce car with Dave in the back on canola oil.
With a full 5-point harness, so just to be safe.
Oh yeah, so safe. Safe style.
360 camera in the back.
I'm more questioning how Dave's gonna bolt it in and if he's torquing it to common sense or not. So we're gonna find out.
Hey, for the record, I already have a whole E-track system in the back of the Baja, so I'm going to make a welded adapter that clicks into the E-Tracks and is a bolted seat, and we're working with the SCCA and everyone to get it approved. Don't worry, we're already.
That
I was
sounds
talking to Ethan
incredibly
actually
sexy. I'm
today
here
about it.
for it.
Yes.
So the question we ask everyone who comes on is, we're going to 3,000 miles, and then we're going to dump the oil, we're going to send it to Blackstone, and we're going to
How
fill
many
it with
miles are on
something
it now
else.
then?
1,800 miles on the current
Okay.
oil.
Actually, no. Actually, I think we're about 2,300 right now.
Ooh, we're getting
And
it.
actually, Ethan's actually going to take us over, not over, but like right close to the 3,000. Let's call it.
Okay.
Judging based on we were talking today, we actually had about a 30-minute phone call, and we did the math, and we're like, you know what? I think the thing will actually just hit about 3,000.
Do you have an oil pressure gauge on it?
Recky. No. Why? Why?
I'm just interested to know what kind of oil pressure canola oil is going to hold in it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you're not wrong. Actually, Dewey, I'm actually going to do that. Actually, I think this would be great. I actually have a oil pressure gauge, tester set up. I'm just going to ghetto fabulously set it up.
I'm just interested to know, like, what is it holding at idle,
Yeah. I'm going to tape it to the windshield for Ethan to run recce. And so he can have one gauge. He's going to have one gauge and one gauge only. It's oil pressure. That's it.
Yeah. So we ask everybody if they think it'll make it to 3,000, and then what you suggest we fill it with next. We've had baby oil, olive oil, friction modifier, WD-40. We've had a couple different options of what we could put in this thing.
I got to be real. I don't want you to put anything different in it. I want you to keep running on canola oil because I think we need to keep the experiment going. And I really, really want to see what Blackstone gives back to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am beyond excited to see what's said there.
Yeah. Because
as I want this podcast to get popular, I'm really worried that Blackstone is already following this. And I really don't want
real talk
to know.
You guys got to get this sent off and get results back, okay? And if Jalopnik doesn't know about this yet, like Jalopnik and Mike Kojima on Moto IQ need to know about this right now. I'm telling you, it's going to go virally shit.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
It's already gone viral for us as in a small scale. People are like, wait, what?
Wait till it hits.
How is it already gone 500 miles?
Shit.
Our number one video is an Instagram reel of us talking about it, and it was like 160,000 views.
Yes.
So that's
I love it so much.
So, the funny part is that like I've been pushing it as like, if this is like a viable thing for old Bajas to run on, your oil changes are like $12. Like, who cares?
It was like $12.93 actually, to be exact, so almost 13. Almost 13.
I gotta be real. If I were you, I would just keep leaning into the canola oil. Have you ever seen those friction tester things that they pour different types of oil and they stick this lever arm on it? I want to see canola oil on it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Dude, I'm all in on the canola oil. Just stay with the canola oil.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to be able to make it this year, but just due to logistics. But I know I'm going to PRI. I'm hoping that PRI that they're there.
Oh,
I don't know if you're going to PRI this year.
I always go to PRI.
We're gonna go find these guys at PRI, you and me, and we're gonna bring them a jug of Crisco and be like, slam it down on the counter and be like, run it. And
don't even tell them, stick it in something so they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I want to test our product versus yours.
Okay.
The funny one that Tanner gave us was that he was saying we should go to Olive Garden, make them fill the car with their olive oil, and then on the oil change, Dave should have a salad on top of the oil bucket. And just cover it in the olive oil when we do the oil change. Yeah.
That's the best one, though, honestly.
So I agree with you. I've always been on the canola only train because I've been hyped to see what could happen. I know.
Don't screw with it. Science.
Yeah. I mean, the weight
and nobody snitched to Blackstone. We're all praying.
You gotta at least make it through one oil change, because then you can see how that goes, and they go, what the F even is this? And then they're gonna lose their shit, and then you take it, I hope you make 5 or 6 oil changes on it. I can't wait to see how far you go on this.
Yeah.
My only worry was that if I get sent a bill from Blackstone that you broke our equipment that cost us $50,000, and I'm like,
The sort of shit, the metal crap and whatever, they're sending, like, people
Yeah.
send these insane
Okay.
oil samples with broken engines and
That's what I
shit to them all the
figured.
time. They got coolant and crap in it, and like,
Yeah.
whatever, dude,
Yeah.
you're
That's what I
fine.
figured. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm okay. I was worried though they're gonna be like, "What did you just send us? This is not engine oil." And I'm like,
Yeah, it's not like you're
"It was in
sending
an engine."
alien acid from frickin' Alien 3 or something. You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave,
Yeah,
you gotta tell
here's
him
some
no.
sulfuric acid.
Dave, no context. Just be like, this came out of my 250,000-mile Baja.
Yeah, literally, if
I
they
don't.
ask what kind
That's
of
what we're
oil
gonna
it is,
say.
just say unknown. You don't know the weight. You just
Unknown.
bought it. You wanted to
I
check
don't
the
know.
health of the engine.
Exactly. How's the engine look at 200,000 and 50,000 miles? They're like, actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Jalopnik will lose their shit.
I'm gonna pin that. I'm gonna laminate it. That's it. I'm gonna
Yeah, you
laminate
need
that.
to frame that and stick it on your wall.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm on board. I think that the canola all the way. I think that
Yep.
it's the best. It's a great experiment, and I think that like testing it on a rally course for the recce is going to be awesome to get it hot and see what happens. Like,
Ethan said he can only go up to 35 miles an hour,
oh,
but he did promise. He said he's gonna hit the rev limiter a couple times. I'm like, why not?
I would try to at least just get through it. Like, man, I really want to see this thing make the mileage just to see what it does.
yeah,
Sure.
Like, I hope you guys don't
I
kill
believe
it
we will.
on doing recce, just because I want to see it make the mileage and I want to see the Blackstone report because it's gonna be to die
No,
for.
it's happening. It's happening.
yeah.
Here's the kicker. It's still to this date over 2,000 miles. I pulled the dipstick actually the other day. It still looks perfectly clean. It's scary how good it looks. It doesn't. It's not even like brown. It's nothing. It's perfect.
It's so good.
Dude, it's got a high burn temp, like it's like I think it ended up being what, Dave? It was like 1030, like weight. Like it's
Yeah.
basically like
We did the
it's like-
math. It's like about 1030. That's what we put in is Crisco brand.
or it was
the
like
exact-
530, I think. It was a little light.
You got the
but-
nice stuff. This isn't Costco brand or Best Value or
No.
Walmart junk. No, this
I
is
got
the good
Crisco.
stuff.
Maybe
Crisco brand.
we tried different canola oil brands.
Let's see which one's
Okay,
the
we'll mix it up.
right.
Which brand kills the Baja? Oh my god.
Best Value killed it.
The
damn.
number one comment on all of our canola oil videos is people being like, my god, we eat this stuff? It's running a Baja.
That is the best part, though.
Yeah. Oh my
Amazing.
gosh. Well, dude, I cannot thank you enough for coming on. I think this has been amazing. And I would love to have you back on again. Of course, I see you. I'm always watching you on the flat irons and on the
Yeah.
Thursday things. So like, I know you're pretty busy, but yeah, man, I just think that there's so many more topics I would love to get with you, but I have an 8-month-old baby and I got to go.
I get it, dude. I'm down whenever you want to have me back on. Just
Yeah.
hit me up. I love community oriented stuff like this. So if and if anybody else wants to chat or you're looking to build an engine or a car or whatever and you need aftermarket advice, don't hesitate to hit me up. I'm an easy guy to find. Just call
Yep.
up IAG and ask for Dewey, or I'm Dewey WRX on Insta.
And you heard it here first. The IAG AOS will be on all of the new production models coming out.
You can purchase them all directly through me.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Keep Boogie on the track. For God's sakes, buy your AOS through me.
Yeah. Well, we wish you all the best luck at Gridlife on the track. We hope that Boogeyman just keeps staying on top of the list and just crushing it. And Dave and I will report back to you with our canola oil findings.
Yes, please. All the support that we get
Yes.
from the community means a ton to everybody on the team, myself, everybody. Boogie is for the community. I can't stress that enough. The reason we keep pushing is because the community wants us to keep pushing. So let us know, share our stuff. It means the world to us that especially at like Wicked Big Meat, the amount of people who came up and were like, honestly, people I would consider direct competitors were like, dude, we're so hyped about what you were doing with this. And like that's it if we win, Subaru enthusiasts should feel like they won too. That's
Yeah.
the way I see
Sure.
that. And like celebrate that as your win because it is literally Subarus versus the world with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
have to ask Dewey, do you have any Boogeyman stickers? I assume you do.
I don't have. I have some small ones that I have at the shop. Honestly, the best place to pick them up. One of my best sponsors and greatest people. T-shirts and stickers. They're all in Subi Mods. They got a whole
Okay.
new slew of
Look
stickers
them
for
up.
Boogeyman stuff
Look,
on Subi
I,
Mods. They're
I, I
sick.
want to put a Boogeyman sticker on the Baja. I think
Well,
it's
yeah,
only going to be befitting to
It'd
put a
be bless
Boogeyman sticker on
it.
the Baja before. Yeah, we're
I
gonna
might be
bless
able
it
to.
with the
You
Boogeyman.
get me your information. Hit me up on Facebook or something. I might be able to make
I'll
something
shoot you a
happen for
message.
There you
Yeah,
go.
we need
Yeah.
a Boogeyman sticker on there to make it official recce vehicle.
Yep.
There you go.
We're motorsports proven now, canola oil and all. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe this is a play. Maybe we switch Boogie to canola oil.
Yep, there you go. He
Let's
said
see
it. We're
how it
doing
works
it.
on a dry sump.
We haven't tried it on a turbo car, so just put that out there. We don't know what happens. Might explode.
Hey, I'm buying a turbo Baja next. Let's go.
Oh God. Well, are you gonna be at Boxer Fest? You sounded like it was 50-50.
I gotta be real. I don't know what the play is because I live in Tennessee, so it's really up to if IAG is bringing me in or not. I
Okay.
would say 75% chance,
Okay.
and if I go, more than likely Boogie will go because it's only, like a 2 hour and a half, something like that from
Yeah.
IAG. So there's a really good chance I'll be there. And even if they don't, if I'm not there on an official capacity with IAG, I might go out there and just, be Dewey. So we'll see.
Well, if you guys happen to make it to Boxer Fest, you might get to see Dewey. Dave and I will be there. This year, Johnny Walker is not going to be our show car. He's going to be in the show. So if you guys catch him, definitely say hi. He was hanging with us last year. And yeah, we look forward to the future of the Boogeyman and continuing to strike fear into everybody on the track. So we appreciate you coming on, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. That is a wrap on our two-part interview with Dewey from IAG Performance. A huge thank you to Dewey for hanging out, sharing his expertise, and giving us a look behind the curtain at what makes IAG such a powerhouse. If you missed part one, make sure to go back and check it out. And as always, if you're loving the content, do us a quick favor, drop a rating, hit that subscribe button, and share this episode with anyone who lives and breathes this stuff. Your support keeps the lights on and the reels spinning. From Dave and I, thanks for riding the wave with us. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.